Right. Now, here in this lesson, I'm going to explain about the client and server computers, right? Client versus server model. So, this is one of the common networking model we are using in communication. So, in normally a client PC means, so this is a client computer, right? Client computer. It can be a desktop or it can be a laptop, right? So most probably it's a single user machine, right? Single use or single user. And so the server computers, so this is example for server machine. So it may be kept in a certain cupboard, right? Server racks. So as you can see here, so there may be multiple servers installed within a single rack, right? So these servers are capable of handling a large amount of clients at the same time. So capable of handling or responding, right? Responding large number of clients simultaneously. Simultaneous means simultaneous at the same time, right? At the same time. So now so here we have the server machines and we have the client machines. So these are connected through the internet. These are connected through the internet. So probably the server machine is within the internet, right? So it's available within the internet. And the clients, they are connected through the internet to the server. Server machines are connected to the internet 24 by 7. That means keep connecting, right? So that's the idea. So that is the basic background for the client and server machines. And so each and every machine has we know, as you know, that the computer is composed of two main things. The first one is software and the other one is hardware. So these softwares and hardwares are designed based on the requirements of client, right? So according to that, so there are client supported softwares and server supported softwares, client supported hardwares and server supported softwares, right? So then hardwares for clients, hardwares for servers, softwares for clients, softwares for servers available, right? Now here you can see there's a server which provides the service to the client. So one server and one client, and there can be some other clients who are connecting to the server at the same time, right? There are multiple clients are connecting to the server at a certain time, right? Multiple clients. And the important thing is, in this model, the connection establishment or the communication is started by the communication started by whom? Client, right? Not the server. connection establishment is done by the client. So at the beginning of the communication, what happens is client makes a request. So then server will gives a response. Right? So the response can be the result, the intended web page. Intended web page means the page you request. Sometimes that particular page is not available in the server. So then there will be an error message. Right? Then there can be the color is not nice, right? Then there can be an error message. So what are the possible errors? The page not exist, file not found, the page not found. Right? Action cancelled. Right? Connection timeout. Page cannot. So now these error codes are having error numbers, right? So I think, as I can remember, 404, I think. So 200 means the response means if the response is successful, the reply is 200. Okay. Right? So these error codes are important if we are going to track this communication in the Wireshark. Right? So then we can see what is the request we made and what is the response we observed. So those things can be, we can verify it through the packet capturing application if you want, right? So I'm not going to show that, demonstrate it in that case. So then I'm going to explain you about the softwares. So now you know the client initialize the communication as a request to the server, and according to the request, server will respond. The response can be two types. The intended web page can be served, or there can be an error message. You may see these error messages, right? You see these error messages in your web browser application, right? So then so we can see the IIS and Apache. So these are the examples for the web server applications, right? Apache is a web server software, right? And IIS also a web server software or application. So these are the logos, right? IIS and Apache. So then as the web client applications, so these are web server applications, right? Web server applications. Web server software or applications, right? So then, so these are web client applications, web clients, web client software or web client applications. Examples here, the Safari, right? It's not mentioned, Safari and Firefox, then Chrome and Edge and Opera. So there are some other tools available, you may familiar with them. So I just want to show several logos. So these are web clients. We call it is informal, we call it is in technical term. So that is web browsers, right? So here we have, so I'm trying to copy this image, right? Then in a new page. So we have this client server application like this. So I want to center it, but it's difficult. Right, anyway, so the client software means in web client we use web browsers. So this is the client machine and this is the server machine, right? Server machine is having some hardware and it has software. Hardware means, what are the hardwares? We'll discuss it later. So I'll give some space for that. And for the software, we have IIS for the web and Apache. So there can be email servers like Microsoft Exchange. For different services, we have different servers. Like for the web servers, we have for the web service, we have web servers. For the email service, we have email servers. IIS and Apache are web server applications. Microsoft Exchange is a email server application. Email server application. So for the client applications, we have web browsers including Opera, Safari, Chrome, Google Chrome, and etc. And sometimes for the email clients, we have Outlook or Thunderbird applications as the client applications. So these are software client, right? Client software, right? And we have hardwares as well. So in client machines, so it may have Intel Core 2 Duo or i3, i7 processor with a certain speed, right? So it has maybe 2 MB cache within the processor to up to 64 megabytes cache, right? And the hard disk may be maximum 1 TB. If it is SSD, it can be maximum 512 GB, and the RAM size may be 1 GB or maybe up to 32 GB maximum, right? And the network speeds may be in speed of megabytes, maybe 8 Mbps, right? So, and we have VGA cards, etc. No need to consider them, right? So now in server machines, it has Intel quad-core processors, or maybe some server related Intel Xeon series processors, right? I don't have the current moment. I don't have the exact product names and the numbers, but Intel Xeon is another server application, right? So server, not an application. It's a Intel processor, right? Type Xeon processors, and it has here we have single processors, right? Single processor available, but here we have multi-core processors, multi-core and multi-processors. Here we have multiple number, maybe 2 or 4 processors may be available. So the motherboards also supporting, motherboard supports multiprocessor. The RAM size are in GBps, maybe like more than in client machines, right? It can be go up to terabytes range, and more than 64, right? It's bigger than 64 GB definitely, right? Maybe terabytes. And the hard disks are in petabyte scale. Petabyte. Peta means we 1024 GB is equal to 1 TB. 1024 TB is equal to 1 petabyte, right? Tera, peta, zeta, iota. So according to that, the scale goes. And the RAM and the hard disk capacity is in petabytes, maybe 100 petabytes. And network speeds in GBPS, speed networks, and the server softwares are kept in a certain special environment. That means the temperature is controlled, temperature, humidity, and ventilation, and it in a controlled environment, and it is terrorist proof, flood proof, high secure environment, right? But we are using at home, right? At home, or maybe in office, right? So that's the general idea of client and server computing. So now you can clearly identify the differences between the client hardwares and their specifications, server machines and its specifications, the server software difference, and the client software difference. Here now, there are multiple number of processors. So here we have single processor. So the motherboard should support for multiple processors, right? Here the motherboard supports only for one processor. And since we have large amount of memory cards, there are multiple memory cards. So here also multiple memory cards, but maybe at maximum 2, 3 or 4. But here it can be large array of memories, right? So then the operating system, right, should be supported to deal with these complicated hardware, right? Hardware arrangement. The operating system should be able to process the processors, whatever the incoming request, within multiple processors and multiple storages. Here there's no such problem, right? It's simple, and it is maintained in a controlled environment, and we are using at home or office. So that's the idea of client server computers. So within this, I have summarized everything related to the client and server computers. So I hope you guys understand it well. And if you have any questions, you can just comment, and you can contact me and ask if you have any issues.